This video is powered by Goalie Guild Gaming. G3 has partnered with us to make these videos possible and are dedicated to supporting esports goalies around the world. Make sure you check them out at goalieguildgaming.com. This video features top goalie advice from the top goalies in the world from North America and Europe, and these tips are timeless. Now, some of them are going to apply to NHL 21, and their builds are obviously going to be focused on NHL 21, but the general advice in these videos are outstanding and will apply to all NHLs going forward. I guarantee it. Now, I just want to quickly apologize to these guys because it took so long for me to get this video out. This didn't quite become the video I wanted it to be. I had an NHL goalie lined up to give real-world goalie advice that could apply to video games. I had a goalie coach lined up, but that also fell through. And then, like always, the real world got in the way. We're coming out of a pandemic here, hopefully, and I just wanted to spend the time where the sun is out and it's summertime, and I just wanted to be outside and spend time with my friends and family. So come NHL 22, we'll be back firing on all cylinders. So for this video, better late than never. I hope you enjoy the advice.
Pressure makes the pass into the zone for Henry. His pocket picked by Jakku. Flash carrying it now on the left wing for Vertigo. Into Scary Joey shot right out. Oh, Shekel just keeps it out. Jakku nearly banks it in. Oh, Shekel keeping this game alive. 3 massive saves by Shekel.
What just happened? Oh my.
Our first set of tips comes from Shekel29, the goalie for Entourage. He runs a 6'5", 181-pound hybrid build using the purple gotcha and quick recovery traits with the one-time wonder specialty. He uses the overhead camera angle, stance 17, and you guys should check him out on Twitter and Instagram, Shekel29NHL, and on Twitch, Shekel29. His first tip is to make sure you use your peripheral vision to pay attention to what is happening around you. This may be because of the overhead camera that he uses, but he never directly looks at the puck or at his goalie. And you can see that in this video clip here. He uses some eye tracking software to show his stream where he's looking sometimes, and this is really awesome. He's generally focusing on nothing but the space in between the puck and the goalie. And just be aware where the other players are and where your players are, and that will help you see the flow of the game and get a better idea of what the other team is looking to do on offense. The second tip is to pay attention to the forehand of the other skaters and be square to the puck on their forehand. In NHL 21 especially, forehand is what gives the best shots, and the only backhands that really go in are shots that are in tight. Knowing the forehand of the skater also helps with quick backhand wraps from behind the net, so if you can see they're coming around behind the net on their backhand, you can be ready for the quick wrap, or if they're on their forehand, you may be able to make a better read on the pass that's coming out from behind the net to a guy in front of you. He also thinks you should turn on the indicators of the other teams so that it helps you see green for right wing, pink for left wing, which makes it quicker to know which handedness the skater is. And his final tip is to trust your defense. Nothing is worse than giving up a short side shot because you moved early thinking they're going to pass. And if you're playing with skaters that understand the game, they shouldn't get mad at you for letting up a backdoor cross crease goal, because they will definitely be mad at you if you abandon your short side and give the other team a free goal. And next up, we have Paralyzer 1. He runs a 6'5", 182-pound hybrid build. You can see his traits and specialties here. He uses the Be a Pro high camera, stance 54, and you should follow him on Twitter at Paralyzer1. And he also just wants to say hello to everyone because he's a great guy. His first tip is to trust your reads. Be confident in your decisions and follow them through the play. If you second guess a movement, you're going to end up late on the next pass. And to him, correcting a misread when you make a mistake still comes way easier if you're confident in that initial movement. His second tip, don't avoid games against top competition. You want as much exposure to the competitive game as possible. Experience helps with reading the play, and playing against better players will give you a better idea of what the best players in the world are trying to do, and it will keep you confident and relaxed when big moments hit. His third and final tip, press the butterfly button, which is right trigger or left trigger, depending on which control scheme you use, at the moment of every shot, and hold it down as you follow the rebound. This gives you better animations for rebound opportunities in a smoother transition. It also offers better low coverage for rebounds and crazy bounces back towards your goalie. If you don't, your goalie will sometimes stand back up after the initial save, which results in a clunky transition to follow the rebound and opens up your 5-hole. And he says that he holds butterfly literally on every shot, but as soon as the puck is cleared away from his crease and there's no chance for a rebound, he'll stand back up. And I asked him a little bit of a follow-up question, just asking him what it takes to be on a top team in this game. And he says experience and consistency. Any goalie can go on a one-week heater, but a top team relies on their goalie to be consistently solid. Through the years, many goalies have been the talk of the community for about a month, and then you never hear from them again. Next up, we have Vane, and he runs a 6'5", 199-pound hybrid. You can see his specialty and his traits here. He uses the high camera in stance 6, and he's the goalie for composure. You can follow him on Twitter at VaneXX or Big Daddy Vane X on Twitch. His first tip is to challenge the puck and not to sit on the goal line expecting to save every shot, because it won't happen and you'll get sniped. He also thinks you should find a build that is the perfect speed for you. Okay, not anyone else, just find the perfect speed for you and something that you're comfortable moving up on shots, and you're going to get sniped a lot less. And as a follow-up to that, he also says that he feels like you can get beat on both short side and far side on snipes if you're cheating one way or the other. The best way to go about challenging a shot is to cut off as much of the angle as possible and stay in the middle of the shot the best you can, so you can take away both sides. His second tip is that on point shots, you should be dropping the butterfly all of the time because it helps cover the low part of the net. It also helps you save deflections, and when your goalie is screened, it can also aid you there. Most of the shots you face from the point are going to be low or for deflections or behind screens, so make sure you drop the butterfly. Tip number 3, every skater on the breakaway is scared of the flying poke check, so use that to your advantage, because a player coming in at full speed, it's almost impossible to stop the flying poke check, or you can even fake it to make a player break and lose their speed and try to go around you, and you can recover in time. Fourth tip, do not overuse the right joystick. He knows lots of goalies that love to use the right stick, and they're just swimming left and right in their crease because the animation's super fast, but it also puts you really far out of position, especially if there's no shot attempt. So use it sparingly and only in scenarios where you have to make a huge recovery and you know a shot's coming. His final tip is that he rarely hugs the post. And this is one I'm on board with. He rarely hugs the post, especially standing up, because it takes way too long to get off of the post. The animation is really slow and it feels very sticky. Okay, it can cause some tough animations on wraparounds, but the best way to stop a wraparound is just to drop the butterfly and move in front or next to the post, and you'll save it. He said the only time he uses post hug is to reposition himself after a shot because it's really fast. He gets on the post and then off the post, and he's usually somewhere near the middle of his net. Now, obviously, it depends on the situation you're in, but that can be an easy way to get back to the center of your net after a shot or a chaotic play. Our next goalie is MCSAVID, and he runs a hybrid build, and you can see his other traits and specialties in height and weight here. On the overhead camera angle, stance 49, and he plays for Farjestad. I hope I pronounced that right. He just wants to say that he just started playing goalie for real. I'm assuming he means competitively and seriously in NHL 19. That being said, for those of you who've seen my channel before, you know he's an outstanding goalie and is one of the best breakaway stoppers in this game. His first tip is that his mindset is every goal is his fault. There's no way that he can keep improving his own game if he blames the goal on his teammates. If you've ever made a breakaway save, why not try and do it every time? The same goes for overtime, penalty shots, backdoor passes. learn from your own mistakes, learn how to read the game, looking at players' backhands, forehands, open players, keeping an eye out for skilled players, and just watching for player tendencies, like do they like to shoot or pass first, and you'll become a better goalie. Now, I'm just going to throw something extra in here. Don't be so hard on yourself that you make the game not fun. Just always look for an opportunity to do something better on the next time you face that same chance. Tip number 2. He uses overhead, and he suggests that everyone at least gives it a try because you see all of the ice, you see all of the players who are open, you see passing lanes, and you can read the play a lot better. He does say be prepared to get sniped a lot in the beginning, and it's going to take you a while to relearn your angles and where your goalie is. But once you get your positioning right, it's going to be night and day as far as reading plays and getting ready for cross-crease passes and other different types of plays you're going to face at high levels. His third tip is to use the speed boost. Make sure you get your angle for the shot, establish a good angle, and then once there is no chance that that shooter is going to shoot, make sure you're holding down the speed boost and just wait for the pass and get yourself over there as quick as possible using the butterfly movement plus the speed boost, just the speed boost or even the right stick. His fourth tip, this one's a funny one for me, be calm, stay patient, relax, and be quiet if someone scores on you. Just get ready to save the next shot. He said it might be hard for someone in their 20s, but for him at 37 years old, it's no problem. So I guess another thing to take away from this, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can be an amazing goalie in this game because he is one of the best reactionary goalies I've ever seen. And actually, he threw in a fifth and final tip here. He says to join the Between the Pipes Discord. I swear to God, I didn't pay him to say this. He just said he really appreciates how people help each other out, share ideas, and help each other get better. There's no competition in that Discord. It's about playing the position better and everyone getting better together. Next up, we have MYLITTLEREVVY, or Rev, and he uses the camera angle zone. His stance is 41, which is Tuukka Rask, and his team is Hall of Fame. You can follow him on Twitter at MyLittleRevvy and twitch.tv/MyLittleRevvy. He just wanted to add that himself and Shekel are involved as a coach for the ASHA Esports Challenge, and he just wanted to drop a link to that. So make sure you check it out. It's a great cause, and Shekel and Revy get involved with that. It was really great for the goalie community. It was an amazing event. This recording is happening after that event, but I think most of you guys saw it on Twitter. If not, check it out because there's certainly going to be another one. His first tip is character. It's more than the type of player you are on the ice. It's how you present yourself and treat others off the ice. If it comes down to a top team picking between two good goalies, they're more likely going to go to the one with has a good attitude and isn't toxic. And I will just reinforce that statement over and over again. There are like a ton of elite goalies these days. The skill ceilings for goalies is very low. All right, there's not much separation there. There's a lot of talented goalies who are really good, but a lot of them are super toxic, and most top teams don't want to have to deal with that. Tip number 2, consistency. The scariest thing for an opposing team is a goalie who seems to make all of the key saves and is able to give their team a chance to win, even stealing a few games every once in a while. A consistent goalie makes a difference between winning a championship and choking a series. How do the top goalies maintain such a high level of skill over an extended period of time? They practice often, practice with intent, and practice at a high level all the time. I asked him what specific things he does to remain consistent, and he said it's a constant battle, which I think it is for every goalie in this game. I don't think this game has been built for user-controlled consistency whatsoever, so we kind of look for answers, and there doesn't seem to be any. Every goalie goes through that. I guarantee it. I've been through it. All the top goalies go through it, okay? But this is what Revy does. He keeps a consistent routine. He sets up the same environment for practice as when he plays in games. He actually distracts himself a little bit with YouTube on his other monitor. Now, that's not going to be for everyone, but He just watches a relaxing playlist so that he doesn't have room to overthink or become emotional in the game. His third and final tip is commitment and embrace the grind. Like all things in life, there'll be ups and downs. If goaltending was always easy, then everyone would be elite, but it's how the elite goalies handle adversity that makes them the best. The key is to just keep showing up to every scrim, every event, keep finding new teams no matter how good or bad they are, and be excited to play the best position in the world, and just dedicate yourself to being 1% better every time out. Next up is Cap, and he's the goalie for Philadelphia and Linköping Hockey Club. I hope I didn't butcher any of that. I'm sorry if I did. He uses the high camera, stance 41, and this is his build right here. You can follow him on Twitter and Twitch below. And his first tip is if you want to perform at a high level, it's all about trying to sync with the players in front of you. Make sure the players that are in front of you on defense, on forward, are aware of your weaknesses, and they play based around those weaknesses so you can focus on your strengths in net. And as a follow-up, I asked him what he does to communicate that and what he's gone through himself. And he said one of his strengths in net is reading the play. And he's told his center, because of that, to cover more in front of the crease, take away the middle of the ice, and force the opponents to the outside so he can face more one-timers. He thinks the further away he gets his opponents from his crease, the better he'll perform. I think that's an incredible tip. Communicate with your team. Try to get them to force players to the outside if that's your strength. And, you know, if you like a bit more aggressive defense that goes after people in the corners and leaves the middle open, then by all means, tell them to do that. Okay? But it's important to communicate with your teammates. And if they're not willing to communicate with you, then either deal with it or find a new team. His second tip, if you have a bad night, remember that it's just a video game.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Do something else that makes you feel good and come back stronger. That's a really important tip. I took a break from this game for a while because it's frustrating and inconsistent sometimes. And it just wasn't fun. So I took a break and I came back feeling refreshed. And I just asked him what he defines as having a bad night. And he says you can have a mix of bad bounces, of course, they're going to happen in this game. But when you lose as a team, that's when you've failed to reach your goal, and that's a bad night in general. So it's not just on you, but if you lose the game in general, it's a bad night. His third tip and final tip is to play some games as defense and forward. It helps you get into the mindset of other players, of your teammates, of your opponents, and will make you a better goaltender because of that. I love that. I absolutely love that tip because it's so true. If you've played forward or defense in the EASHL, then you know what you're looking to do in this game, and it helps you tremendously as a goalie. You know and understand the limitations of players on the ice, and it can help you make saves in some of the biggest games that you're going to play in. And as a follow-up question, I just asked him, you know, how did it help him specifically? And he said how he positions himself in net. As a forward, he could tell which goalie stands too far back in the crease and who's taking away the angles properly. He could easily find the back of net on goalies who are sitting on their goal line, and it helped him think about how he could make it more difficult for his opponents facing him. And then lastly, I just asked him, you know, what does it take to be on a top team in Europe? And he said, consistency. That's a standard answer. That's a consistent answer across all these goalies. So make a mental note of that. You need to show that you can perform among the top teams out there. Okay, you need to make the right choices night in and night out. And don't stress about making mistakes. You know, don't always worry about trying to play for the best team and changing rosters or anything like that. Find a team that you have the right chemistry with and there's a good atmosphere and that you enjoy, and that's more important than being on the absolute best possible team. Okay, and that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's late, but again, better late than never here with this advice. It's going to apply to every single NHL going forward, so don't worry about it. I have one big video left in store for you guys that I have in the works before I switch over to NHL 22 content. It's going to be a video of all these big ideas I have in my head that would turn the NHL series on its head. Okay, and I look forward to making that video. It's going to take me a while to make, so just hang tight. Enjoy the game, enjoy your summer, and stay safe. Thanks for watching.